Often, when uncomfortable issues like bullying come up, we try to distance ourselves.
Sure, we say. It's a problem, but it's not my problem.
It's easy to see bullying as something that happens to someone else.
As something that is caused by someone else.
But if you've been paying attention these last few days, you'll know that this isn't the case.
Sometimes you can bully without meaning to.
And sometimes you can bully without thinking about the impact.
We've all done it sometimes.
Yes, even us.
And yes, even you.
Today is about acknowledging the fact.
Bullying is a behavior we've all engaged in at some point in our lives.
It's a choice that we make.
And it's a choice that can have a lifelong impact on us or someone else. Today is the day of sharing.
Sharing and feeling our emotions about bullying.
Sharing experiences that we have in common.
And sharing the effects that bullying behavior has had on our lives.
We'll start with some teachers sharing their experience, both being bullied and bullying others.
And how they feel about it now.
Is there anyone out there who knows what I'm going through?
One of my first and probably biggest memory of being bullied was in 4th grade.
I can remember a time when I was in elementary school.
When I was a kid in 3rd grade, I switched schools.
I changed schools quite a bit growing up, so I just got used to being new and trying to fit in and those kinds of things, and that wasn't always easy.
There was a kid in my class who started calling me Miss Piggy.
And I got bullied into getting into a fight with a guy who was a really good friend of mine.
And because I was the new kid, right, and because I was also kind of like, I didn't have any older siblings, and my parents didn't let me watch TV, so I kind of didn't know what was going on sort of in the world.
At first it was, I just kind of laughed it off. But then as it started to gain like followers, people would start saying it to me in the hallway,
and it was all like hearsay and made up stuff, right? And what happened was I tried to reason my way out of it, but people kept, pushing it on, and I felt that there was no way out.
Not bullied like in any way like actually picked on, but it was a lot of girls in the class, and so they would just ignore me.
Kind of like at recess, and it was just not funny anymore, and it started to really affect my self-image.
And as a result, I got into a fight. We both got hurt, and the guy was no longer my friend after that.
I wasn't bullied, but I was with a group of friends who did some bullying. So I guess that was using the Wayback Machine, probably in 5th or 6th grade.
I can remember when I was being really little, I was probably a 2nd grader, maybe a 3rd grader.
Oh, I can think of a time when I bullied my sister, Alicia, into eating something that I didn't want to eat.
In like 6th grade, another new girl came to the class.
It's part of the culture when we're young, especially boys. We like to throw around the words like faggot and gay and kind of jokingly call each other faggot and these kinds of things.
We're a pretty good, tight group of friends, and there was a student who wanted to hang out with us, and we convinced him as we were walking around the schoolyard that if he ate a piece of dog crap, that he would then be cool enough to join our little group.
And I got my report card in the mail, and my parents were going over it with me, and it said, Caitlin has been bullying one of the other little girls at recess.
And everyone started picking on her because she was also kind of awkward, right? And man, I jumped right in.
But you start to realize that even though you feel like, especially as a young person, that you don't mean it in a negative way, that constantly using those words actually does have a negative impact. So in my case, I used to use those words all the time.
And I remember that she didn't want to eat it either because it looked gross and it smelled gross.
And my parents said, "What? You've been bullying somebody at recess?" And I said, "I have." I didn't realize that my behavior was causing her to be upset. And at first I remember, you know, being really mad at my teacher and, you know, how could you know, tattle on me? I didn't even know I was doing something wrong.
Like, I have been treated so badly by all of these girls for so long, and the second they start looking at someone else, right, I just jumped right in.
Till it sort of, you know, I had this sort of moment where I sort of realized how negative it actually was and bullying that was, because toward the end of high school, my younger brother came out to me, and even though he was comfortable doing that, it was really hard for me to justify continuing to use those words.
After about 2 weeks, he'd actually picked it up in his hands and was about to bite into it when we had to stop him from doing that. But it was at that moment when he was actually capitulating to eating the turd that you realize how much people want to belong and what lengths people will go to belong.
And I bullied her into eating it, and she ate it, and as a result, I remember she barfed that night.
Like, I didn't even think about it, you know? And it's ridiculous because it's like, I know what it felt like. I know what it was like to be this girl, right? And I just did it anyway because I was so relieved, you know, that it wasn't me for once. And it was, I mean, it was horrible.
As an adult, especially now, a lot easier to remember, because when you do bully people, or when you realize the effect you've had on people from bullying them, it kind of sticks with you, and like you feel guilty, and you kind of end up carrying that around a little bit, and wishing you could go back and apologize to people that you picked on and those kinds of things.
The power that people have over other people that start out as maybe harmless but easily become something that's pretty darn scary, just the amount of power and influence we have over each other.
But looking back, you know, with some hindsight, I'm really, really glad that she said something, because what if the behavior I was doing, and I don't know, it must have been something like taking the ball from her, you know, calling her names or whatever it was. I was young enough that I didn't realize that behavior was wrong. And I'm really grateful, looking back, that she said something.
I think a lot of people who engage in bullying don't always realize it at the time. I think, especially when you're young, you're trying to have fun, and oftentimes it's easy to have fun at somebody else's expense, and those kinds of things.
It was just amazing to see at that point just how far people will go to when they are being bullied, because they don't know that they are being bullied at times, and they just think it's a rite of passage.
And so I felt really bad about that. I learned my lesson about bullying.
So I would just encourage people that if you're ever told, no matter what kind of behavior it is, that, hey, that's not nice, or you're hurting somebody's feelings, even if you doubt it, or even if you know that you're coming from a place where you don't intend to hurt people's feelings, I think there's an opportunity to stop and think, and try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and listen when people say that, you know, that your behavior is bullying other people, even if you don't feel it yourself.
So bullying is kind of just the act of basically putting someone down. So, you know, it's just something that's not right.
I think that bullying shouldn't be a problem at this age because it's just a very immature act.
I think bullying, the definition of it is the personal harassment of someone in order to get some kind of emotion out of it. Usually it's negative.
I'm not for bullying at all, you know. I've seen a lot of bullying, not at this school, but I've seen bullying going on.
I think bullying is a terrible thing. It could affect many people in bad ways, and it's just not the right thing to do.
Bullying is being mean and a jerk to someone else.
Hello, ST. I'm Tiana. So, as much as we like to believe that here at ST we're civil enough to not have bullying be an issue, it still is. We often overlook the fact that the stereotypical bully is no longer existent. Now we're sneakier and more conniving, and we're all guilty of it.
Bullying is just straight up disgusting. Like, if you're able to bully someone else to the point where they can kill themselves or something, or self-harm or something, then you need to go get yourself checked, because that's just plain wrong.
So my opinion in bullying is that it is bad because it makes no one feel better, and it's just bad for the person's feelings. It hurts it hurts their inside. It's just really painful.
A person should never be defined by their single acts. There are multiple reasons why one may resort to such behavior. Need to feel superior, have authority, and most commonly, the pressures around them to act a certain way. Yeah, because that's what makes you cool.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Tyler. So, what is a bully? If you're talking in technical terms, a bully is just a person who uses their power and strength to put someone who's weaker than themselves feel less than what they really are. And when it comes down to it, a bully is just as weak as the person they're putting down.
Like Tiana and Tyler were saying, we just want to bring bullying to your attention. Hello, SC. I'm Adolfo. Bullying is not necessarily who a person is, but what a person can do when they feel insecure about themselves. So before you send that text message,
Before you ignore that person in need,
Before you emotionally scar an individual,
think.
Studies have found that any involvement in bullying bodes poorly in adulthood. Pure bullies did not show problems with emotional functioning as adults, but they did show increased risk of developing antisocial personality disorder. Pure victims, on the other hand, were at higher risk for depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and agoraphobia.
One thing you who had secure or happy childhood should understand about those of us who did not. We who control our feelings, who avoid conflicts at all costs or seem to seek them, who are hypersensitive, self-critical, compulsive, workaholic, and above all, survivors. We're not that way from perversity, and we cannot just relax and let it go. We've learned to cope in ways you never had to.
If there is one thing you take away from this week, ST, it should be this.
Bullying is not a personality trait.
No one is born a bully.
But bullying is a choice that we sometimes make.
Maybe when we're angry or frustrated.
Or when we're trying to fit in.
Or when we just don't know any better.
It's all still a choice.
We are asking you to try and recognize that choice when it comes to you.
And choose a different path.
We're asking you to make healthy choices.
For right now, please participate in an activity led by your teacher.
At lunch, head over to the outdoor stage,
to play a face value card game.
If you're ready to take this a step further, go out of your way to make a new friend today.
Share your experience and share your life with someone new.
As always, the choice is up to you.
Thanks for watching us today.